everybody. It's Silent Eric, and I'm here with some more card reviews for more new cards shown for Onward, Legends of Runeterra. Let's just get right into these because these are interesting. We have a 5 mana 5/5 out of Noxus, pretty solid stat line that says allied attack and support effects activate an additional time. Now, attack effects, that's always going to be good. Support effects, uh, there are some that activating twice is not quite as impactful as you might hope. For example, the the Lulu activating twice isn't really going to do anything. A lot of the ones in Ionia, actually, you're not going to get quite as much as you might want. The Targon ones actually grant, though, so you might actually get some good value out of that. Crimson Pigeon, you don't really want. Pix isn't too bad. Herald of Spring, not really. Legion's Drummer, no. But probably the best ones to use it with would be in Targon, making use of it with Tiari the Traveler or Esmus. In actual Noxus, your Kato the Arm, although expensive, is going to be doing a lot of work there. And actually, Mountain Sojourners is probably the biggest possible payoff, just giving +4/+4 to your entire supporting board. So I would say, also Trevor Snoozebottom could potentially be kind of game winning with this. You get 2 5/5 elusives with Trevor supporting this. So I think you could do some stuff with Ionia, and I think you could definitely do some stuff with Targon. So those are the things to look out for there. Otherwise, you're just running it with attack effects. Noxus has plenty of them. You can find them all over the place. You can use it with Gwen. This is going to be a very strong card for very specific archetypes. Then the Lonely Chime Slime. 2 mana 2/3, really good stat line. When another ally dies, or Last Breath, so when this dies, plant 4 chimes in your deck. So this is very similar to the Toss card, the Sea Scarab, which you can find also 2 mana 2/3. That one's deep though. This one's 2 mana 2/3, and it's putting chime, so buffing your deck rather than tossing. You could run both. You could run some kind of Bard Maokai deck maybe, where you are running a bunch of like ephemerals along with these two guys, and you are thinning your deck and putting a lot of chimes in what amount of your deck you have left. So you have a higher concentration of cards as you toss. Very interesting. Are you going to run this in just normal Shadow Isles decks? Probably not, unless you're doing some combination of card draw and... Yeah, you need to be doing some kind of combination of card draw and also ephemerals, probably, like sacrifice effects. Interesting, though. Very interesting. Should allow for some fun Bard stuff. Bard's going to love playing this on turn 2, just in general. Then we have the Watery Grave. 3 mana slow, obliterate 6 cards from the bottom of the enemy deck. It is, at last, a mill card that isn't a, like, game-ending mill as a victory condition, like Maokai or the Watcher. So you can just kind of run this possibly with some kinds of ways to copy it, like with Mimic or with... what would it be? I guess you'd want to use Mimic. You'd want to use Karma. And probably the funniest use of this, You're going to be able to try and build around it, but it's only one card, so it's not going to be very good just yet. The funniest use of it is definitely going to be using it if you're facing a deep player when they get down to that point where they're about to play their Nautilus to refill their deck, or maybe right afterwards. It's right when a Maokai deck is at that point where they're racing you, essentially. You could use this to just delete all of their champions that they couldn't toss, which I think is going to be particularly strong use of it. But that's very edge casey, and it's not like not like you're going to want to main deck it. So unfortunately, this is just going to be a meme card for a while, but I'm hoping that we see a little bit more of this kind of obliterate effect. Uh, yeah, and it's also just nice if you are doing some kind of solo Maokai win condition. This card is going to help you get over the top and win once Maokai actually flips. General of the Dunes. 4 mana Daybreak. 4 mana 4/4 Daybreak, or when you activate another Daybreak, grant the weakest enemy vulnerable. That's pretty nice, but not necessarily. I mean, it's not necessarily going to be like if you have a Leona out, you already have Challenger, so you're not necessarily needing a bunch of vulnerable. But this lets you pick your trades as you play your Daybreak effects and just kind of pick stuff off. It's also an elite, interestingly enough, so you'll be able to play this in some kind of Shuriman elite package, and it will be able to give vulnerable probably like maybe once. Uh, Defenders of the Sun Disk, 2 mana 2/2 with elite. Daybreak, draw another copy of it. So this is like a unit version of the Daybreak spell, the Zenith Blade, that draws other copies of Zenith Blade. This is a much stronger version of one because it is actually a unit. You just want to play this and it gives you another unit from your deck. It's thinning your deck. This is going to be really good in just Shuriman decks where you want early defenders. Regardless of the fact that it's elite, regardless of the fact that it's Daybreak, it's a deck thinner and stall tactic in Shurima. Very good. Now, this does mean that Leona Daybreak with Shurima is finally a thing. Thematically, Daybreak really should be in Shurima. It's where the Sun Disk is, it's where that kind of divine power came, or rather, Targon gave the divine power to the Shurimans, but it all kind of fits there. It's a similar power source. It makes sense for Daybreak to be in Shurima. So this is very exciting. I'm looking forward to them possibly doing more with Daybreak in Shurima and expanding Daybreak to have even more options. So that is pretty fun. I really like, especially Defenders of the Sun Disk is a big favorite of mine. Let's move on to some Bandle City cards. Skip, King of the Reef, a 2 mana 1/2 elusive. Not too bad on the stat line, especially for an elusive. It's a little bit survivable with 2 health. But here's the big thing. When you play it, pick one of 2 non-champion cards from the enemy hand, and Skip captures it. Now, they have said on Twitter that if Skip dies, the card does not go into play like normal capture stuff. When something that is captured is removed, it appears the rule is it goes back where it came from, not that it goes to the field. So far, all capture effects have captured units from the field. This is the first time we are capturing cards from hand. When Skip dies, it goes back to their hand. So you're just temporarily removing a card. It can't be a champion, but it can be removal that would have gotten rid of Skip. So, I mean, I love Bandle City. I love Bandle City. I love the tricksy stuff. I like prank decks. So, Skip is going to fit right into that in a like hand control kind of feel. So, I'm a big fan of Skip. The main thing is there isn't really a way to like if Skip gets recalled, or there's no way for you to permanently get rid of the thing that's on there except for silence. You play Skip and then use some kind of silence effect to permanently get rid of whatever Skip captured. but I'm not sure how often that's going to be worth building your deck around. You can just run Silence in general and see if it comes up. That would be Bandle City with Demacia, and see how that works out for you. But Skip is going to be very interesting. He's going to be very good early game control for Bandle City, as well as just like Prank, giving you knowledge of what's in the opponent's hand. Bursting Backpack, 1 mana. For each Bursting Backpack you've played this game, plant 4 Chimes in your deck and 4 Puff Caps in the enemy deck. So that is 1 mana for 4 Chimes and 4 Poison Puff Caps. And then it creates another backpack in your deck so you can find it more. It's just like Wildfire, except rather than doing Nexus damage and winning you the game, it's putting Puff Cap damage and Chimes to help you win the game later. This is huge. This is a crazy cool card. Definitely be able to build around it. There's plenty of card draw in Bandle City to make this pay off. Getting lots of Chimes and Puff Caps is going to make things like the origami slicer actually maybe make sense ever. Even still, it probably won't be worth running origami slicer in your deck, but hey, there's maybe a reason. Also, Realm's Caretaker, also even better. So this one's going to be fun, once again, as long as you have the card draw to find your bursting backpacks, which maybe this is a reason to do a Nyla deck with Bandle City. We'll find out. Next up, we have Gentleman's Duel, 3 mana fast in Demacia. Give an ally +0/+2 this round, then it and an enemy strike each other. So it is single combat, but it's a Gentleman's Duel, which means it's weighted in your favor and unfair for the opponent. You're paying 1 more mana for +2 health. Only temporary, it's a give, not a grant, but you're about to strike an opponent anyway. This is a great card. This will help you win trades that might have been just a full-on trade. It's going to be great with Formidables because +2 health is +2 damage if you're using this with any of Galio's boys. So, Gentleman's Duel, great card. I think you're going to see it a lot. Single combat is still the cheaper option, but this one, for only 1 mana, you're getting a Elixir of Iron on top of a single combat. I think it's worth it. I think you're probably going to be fine running Gentleman's Duel. If not instead of, at the very least, in addition to some single combats. Always good to just have more options, or rather, more of a type of effect. Lastly, we have Capsize, and it's an Ionia card, slow, 4 mana. We have Recall an enemy to increase the cost of the next unit your opponent plays this round by 2. So rather than just recalling it and they can play it back again, this is recalling it and you're punishing them for playing a unit that turn. That means that this is slow, you can't use it at fast to disrupt an attack, but you can use it ahead of an attack just to kind of make them hopefully pay more than 4 to play units. And it's not just the unit that you recalled that costs 2 more, it's any unit they want to play this turn is going to cost 2 more. So it's punishing them for refilling their board after this, which is going to be pretty good if you want to attack that turn or if you're just trying to survive. Very interesting version of it. The fact that it's slow, though, does mean you can't be quite as reactive, and that is a downside. There's definitely something to say for just using a card in response to them attacking compared to this kind of proactive play. But it's definitely interesting. 4 mana is pretty affordable, especially when you're making something cost more, so you're just going to kind of really hurt their tempo. It's very strong anti-tempo. So those are the new cards today. I would say my favorite of the new ones, as much as I like Mill, Watery Grave I don't think is it. I think it might be Defenders of the Sun Disk is one of the stronger ones that they just put out. Skip is going to be very annoying. There's a lot of good cards today. and I am definitely looking forward to kind of just including a lot of these in decks. You'll notice no new Freljord cards, no new Piltover and Zon cards. Interesting. What does that tell you? It certainly tells me that those are where the new champions are, so just further confirmation. We're getting Janna, we're getting Volibear. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe for more card reviews as they come out, because this new set is looking like it's going to be pretty interesting. You guys have a good one. See you next time.